a brand new keyframe editor, voiceover recordings, an AI EQ matcher, and even animated captions. These are just some of the brand new features within the free version of the DaVinci Resolve 20 beta, which is available right now. But you do need to go and download it for yourself. Head over to the Blackmagic support website and you can download it and install it from there. But remember, this is essentially early access, so there might be bugs, and be prepared to update it regularly. It's also worth doing a backup before you install it. But in this video, we're going to talk about some of my favorite new features, with one exception. We're not talking about the source tape, because I made a whole video about how great the source tape is, which you should definitely watch after this one. Right, with that out of the way, let's kick things off, and the first thing we're going to talk about is cursor zoomy point thing. You can now zoom in to where your cursor is on the preview screen. It's a small thing, but it makes a whole lot of difference. Let's take a look. On the edit page, when you've got your preview window here like this, previously when you used your scroll wheel on your mouse, you'd zoom in right to the center every time, and then you'd have to kind of drag around to get to the point that you want. Let's just reset that, which is Z key, by the way, or Z if you're in America. And this time around, what we can do is simply place our cursor where we want to zoom in, and then if we use our scroll wheel, we'll zoom into that point. So we can go to the top right, we can go top left, down the bottom, or wherever we want. Just makes your life that little bit easier. Next up, we've got the portrait viewer. Again, it's a small thing, but if you make lots of vertical content, maybe you do social media or TikTok or, I don't know, whatever, that's pretty much all of it, isn't it? If you do any of that sort of thing, you'll like this addition. So all we're going to do, let's create a new timeline, and we're going to untick the use project settings. We'll go to format, and let's make this 1080p, and we're going to tick use vertical resolution to make our vertical timeline, and then create. And then by default, you'll get the same little small preview window here. Let's just put something on this timeline so we know what we're looking at. There's a new button, and it's kind of where it's located will be dependent on your layout. So I've got this half screen inspector open here. So over by the dim, by our volume, we've got this little icon over on the right hand side, and it says expand view. If you've got your full screen inspector, it will just be shifted over here slightly, so it'll be slightly more in the middle of the screen. Either way, give that a click, and we get a full screen vertical timeline. So when we're actually putting our timeline together, we can see it all in much more detail, and we'll know how it's going to look on our phone. It's a really, really nice addition, and it's consistent too. If we jump over to the cut page, we've got the same little icon, so we can do the same thing there, and over on the color page as well. Handy. Next up, let's talk about something a little bit chunkier, the new Keyframe Editor. As far as I can remember, people have always wanted a slightly bigger and more in-depth and generally just better way of doing keyframes on the edit page. Well, Blackmagic have delivered, because we've got a brand new keyframe editor for you to get your teeth into. Now, this keyframe editor needs its own real video, but let me give you a super quick tour. So I've got this PNG on my timeline. If I click on keyframes at the top, I can open up the new keyframe editor. And by default, we'll see all of these different attributes. You can turn these off by simply clicking on these three little dots, going to display selected parameters. Let's just get rid of all these. And the only one we want at the moment are the two zooms. So we can tick those like so. Now we can hit play, and this will play through. And then at any point, we can just tick these to add our keyframes. Now we could give these a click and then open up the inspector, go to the transform, and then change any of the attributes from there. Or you can use the new curves editor. So in the top left-hand corner, there's this icon, which is the keyframe curves. If we give that a click, we get a nice little curves editor. So we can see our little keyframes here. So I'm going to double click on this first one, and I can enter some values in there. So let's just put 0. I want it to start off at 0, and then it'll zoom into 1. And now if we hit play, we've just animated that like so. If we want to add any new keyframes, if we hold the Option key or Alt on a keyboard, we can give it a click, and then we can add a new keyframe, and then we can adjust that as required. Let's just get rid of that one for now. Another super handy tip is if we hold Alt or Option once again, and then click on our same keyframes, we can simply curve them super quickly. So we can add some curves here. Let's drag this one out, and something like that, and then hit play. And we've really quickly animated this to do a little punch in like so with our curves. We can come and adjust this. We can move it up so it zooms in more, bring it down so it zooms in a bit less. Maybe hold Alt and add another couple of keyframes over here. Let's drag it down this time. We'll curve this one and curve this one. If you've got two handles like so, if you hold Shift and then drag, you can drag either one end or the other, giving you lots of control once again. Now you can also expand this to make it full screen, which is super handy. So if you've got dual screens, this is really nice because you can have this open on one screen and you can do what you need to do from here. But there is also a viewer directly on the timeline as well. So if we click on this icon, this is Show Keyframe Tray, and that'll open up these little keyframes at the bottom. Now you can't do any of the curves and all the fancy stuff here, but it's really easy to see where your keyframes are, and then you can click and drag to move them around, and you can see the curves updating. So you can just come in and mess around to get this exactly however you want it. Now it's not perfect, but it's pretty neat, and it's definitely better than what was there before. This is also the new way that you will do your speed curves if you're doing any sort of speed ramping as well. So again, I will cover that in a separate video. If you want that, let me know down in the comments. Next up, MultiText and improvements to Text Plus. So from within the effects library under titles, we've got MultiText. Give it a click, drag it onto your timeline, give it a click on the timeline, open up the inspector. You should see MultiText. Let's open that up, and it looks something like this. And as mentioned, it kind of does exactly what you'd expect it to. We've got text 1 here, and we've got font. So let's just put hello within there and maybe change the font. We could change the style, we could change the color, do all of the things that we want to do. Then there's this add text. We've got 3 options here. We have a point layout, which is basically the standard one you've kind of got used to. We then have a text box layout, which we can type stuff within there. And then we've also got a circle layout, which gives you a nice circle layout text, which will wrap around like so. For each of these individual assets, you can change the size, the font, the colors, all that sort of stuff. You've then got this text list, and you can reorder them, you can toggle them on and off, and you can delete them from there. So it just allows you to create nice little titles. You can keyframe them, do all the stuff that you need to do from a single effect. But the other thing, which is super key, let's grab Text Plus, and let's just dump a load of stuff within here. This has always been a bit of an issue for Resolve because it would always just keep going off the screen. Now within the Text Plus, if you jump over to Layout and change the type from point to text box, you've got an option to wrap to text box, and it will keep it within the text box. To actually see the text box, under your preview window, click on this little drop down, then come down to Fusion Overlay, and then you'll see your text box on the screen, and you can resize it just like so, and it will keep wrapping that text. Now, if you don't want to create your own titles, why not check out this video's sponsor, MotionVFX? I use MotionVFX in a ton of my videos. In fact, all of the pop-ups and titles and text and whatever else in this very video are from MotionVFX. They have a massive range of different plugins covering all different types. We've got an M Journey, the ultimate travel video editing tools for DaVinci Resolve. We've got M Tuber, which covers pretty much everything you'd need if you're setting yourself up as a YouTuber. We've even got a familiar face of Joris Hermans. He's got an M How-To pack, which is full of tutorial and explainer video elements. They're super quick and easy to download and install, and you can keep track of all of your plugins via the M Installer app. So if you want to check out MotionVFX for yourself, there is a link down in the description below. Give that a click and check out that full range of plugins for DaVinci Resolve. Right, let's get back to the main video, voiceovers. So yes, it's been possible to record your own voiceovers within DaVinci Resolve for a while, but you'd have to jump into the Fairlight page and patch things in, and it was all a bit of a faff. Now it's much, much easier. From both the edit pages and the cut pages, we've got this new little icon right here called Voiceover. Give that a click, we get a little record voiceover box pop open. We give these 3 little dots a click, and we've got some options like input, monitoring, enable a 3 seconds countdown, mute the timeline audio while recording so you don't get any sort of interference, all this sort of stuff. Let's toggle that one on, and let's also do the 3 seconds countdown. We then have file name, so this is going to be called test. We can change the microphone, so I'll use my Elgato, which is the one I'm using right now, and then we can choose which track this voiceover is going to go to. So I've only got audio track 1 at the moment. If I left it on auto, what it would simply do, let's make a new track here. It would simply go to whichever track I had selected. So if I clicked on this little A2, that would go red. So when I'm doing my voiceover and I leave it on auto, it should go to that track. To actually record a voiceover, we simply hit the little microphone icon. It'll give us our 3-second countdown because we turned that on. And as I start talking, it's just going to lay down this voiceover clip. And then when I'm done, I stop. There's my little voiceover clip on my timeline. Now it will actually create this clip on your computer itself, so you can grab it and move it elsewhere if you want to. Now if we jump over to the cut page, it's very, very similar, but it actually has a few additional options. Under the preview window, voiceover, give it a click. We've got the little button here to expand our options. Same thing, we've got audio inputs, so we can change our microphone. We can change the track that it's going to. This one will actually create a voiceover track for us. Monitoring, as well as our countdowns. We can change the voiceover recording file location. We can even import a script so that appears on screen. And then if you're on the studio version, you can also apply voice isolation and the dialogue leveler automatically to your voiceover recording, which is super handy. Something else which is handy with the cut page is if we find a point on our timeline and hit I to mark an in point, we can be wherever we want on our timeline. If we hit Q, it'll jump straight to that point. Now, sticking with the cut page for a second, I know not everyone's a fan of the cut page, but this is quite a big deal. The cut page now has a mixer. Now, previously, if you're using the cut page, maybe on a PC, Mac, or whatever, or you're using the iPad version, you couldn't do much audio work. You'd always have to jump back to a full installation of DaVinci Resolve, Edit Page, or Fairlight to start messing with your audio. Now that the mixer exists, it makes the cut page kind of a fully fledged solution. Now, the iPad version won't have the beta because I don't think they can release the beta version of DaVinci Resolve 20 on the iPad. I think it's an Apple thing. But when DaVinci Resolve 20 goes live fully, it will make the iPad version of DaVinci Resolve way more useful. Accessing it is really simple. From the cut page, we've got Mixer, top right-hand corner. We give that a click, and then we have our mixer down here. There's a little icon in the top right-hand corner. If we give that a click, we get a full screen, and we've got like the bus and the loudness meter over here. And you can also see we've got FX, dynamics, and EQ. If we double click any of those, we can get the equalizer open, and we can get the dynamics open. So you can do all of this fully fledged audio work now directly from the cut page, which is a big deal. Whether that actually makes you use the cut page or not is entirely up to you. Now, sticking with audio, there's actually 2 features which are labeled as AI, which are in the free version, which I didn't know until about half an hour ago when I was researching this video. We've got the EQ matcher and the level matcher. So we're here on the edit page, and I've got a bunch of different audio clips on my timeline, and as you can see, they're all different levels. So this one's really loud, this one's really quiet, this one is about right, and so forth. Now, if we jump over to the Fairlight page, let's just expand this so we can see what we're doing. You simply click on the clip that you want to take the leveling from, so the one that you're happy with. We right-click, we come to Clip Operations, and there's a level matcher, and we capture the level profile. That's basically going to take the loudness from this clip and save it somewhere. So then if we highlight all of the other clips on this timeline, right-click, Clip Operations, Level Matcher, apply the level profile, is going to whip through and automatically adjust the levels so everything matches our original audio clip. Super handy indeed. Next up, we've got the EQ matcher, which will do the same thing, but it's designed to try and match the EQ of one particular clip and then apply it to others. This is particularly handy if you've recorded in different locations or using a different microphone. Now, this works best when you actually separate them out onto individual tracks. So let's say you've got 2 microphones, you could put all of the clips on one microphone on track 2 and all of your other clips on track 1. Then we basically do the same thing. We jump over to the Fairlight page, Now from here, we simply right click on the clip we want to steal the EQ from, which in my case is this one here. Then we go to Clip Operations, EQ Matcher, and capture the EQ profile. Then we go to the clip we want to apply that to, right click, Clip Operations, EQ Matcher. We could apply this to the clip itself or the entire track. I'm just going to do it to the clip in this example. Then if you give your clip a click on the timeline, open up the inspector, top right hand corner. In the EQ, the equalizer, it's tried to match these microphones together.
Have come out to LA for a couple of days before we head over to Las Vegas.
Having the ability to pick up literally any computer.
Have come out to LA for a couple of days before we head over to Las Vegas.
Having the ability to pick up literally any computer.
From here, we could then come in and mess around with it and adjust it if we needed to. Now, just worth mentioning, this equalizer also does appear on the edit page, so you can jump back to the edit page and make any amendments from there as well. Next up, subtitle styles. Now, don't get too excited. The automatic subtitle generation still isn't available within the free version, but you can now apply Fusion titles to the subtitle track, meaning you can get some nicer looking subtitles. So I've got a very simple subtitle track set up here. If we open up our effects library, come to titles, scroll down to the Fusion titles, and we can actually start to use these animated titles as our subtitles. So all you need to do, let's grab one like this dark box text, drop it on the actual track here on the left, and that will apply that Fusion title to all of your subtitles. If you go back to the inspector, go to track, you can see all of the options for your subtitles and whatever else within there. And if you want to apply something else, let's try this drop in instead. Grab it, drop it on this subtitle track, and it will replace the previous one. Hit play, and there you go. Now, not all of them work. It gets kind of confused if you use anything that's got kind of two text boxes. If you've got multiple layers of text, it doesn't really know what to do. But it does also work potentially with custom generated ones. So I made a Mr. Beast text title pack thing a while ago. If we drop that on there, we get this little oh hey there. And if I hit play, it does its little pop in every single time. So it's a nice handy addition. Next up, Resync now includes images. So in a few versions back, they added the ability to resync media into your bins within your media pool. Again, really nice addition, which just means you can have kind of semi-live folders within your media pool, and you don't always need to keep manually adding stuff. They've added the ability to also do this with stills. And at some point, I don't know when, whether it's DaVinci Resolve 20 or one of the previous releases, they've also added the ability to do this within power bins, which is mega. Let me show you. So let's do this within a power bin. I've got my power bins open here. If you don't see power bins, click on these three little dots and then just show power bins. Power bins are folders or bins which will appear in every single project you open. So within this, I can grab this folder here, which I've got set up for all of my screenshots. So whenever I take a screenshot, it goes in this folder. I'm going to grab this folder and drop it over here on the left under the power bins. And it's going to create a new folder called screenshots. And all of the screenshots I take will appear within there. Now you can right click and then come down to automatically resync media files. But I found it to be slightly temperamental. So I've just been manually resyncing it. But now what this means is, if I take a screenshot, if I then right click on my screenshots, I'm going to resync the media files, and that new screenshot is going to come straight in. So I could set one up for memes or JPEGs or images or screenshots like I have. Whatever you want, you simply right click, resync the media files. I've also got them set up already for music and sound effects. So if I drop some more music within this folder, I simply right click, resync the media files, and it'll pull in any new media tracks which exist on my music folder within my computer. And last but not least, just to finish this video off, we have custom quick exports. And all that means is from the edit page, I can go quick export. I've got this little icon here, YouTube 4K 30. Give that a click. This is my default kind of settings for all of my YouTube videos. I can hit export and I can just run it out without having to jump over to the deliver page. Super handy. To set them up, again, dead easy. Jump over to the deliver page, customize all of your settings. So kind of do everything you need to do within here. Then simply click on these three little dots in the top right-hand corner and then click Save as New Preset. Give this a name. I'll call this one Demo. I can then choose any of these icons. Let's go with this little green one. And if I want to, I can add to the quick export and then save. Not only will it appear in the top left-hand corner of the deliver page, and any others that I create will appear there too, but from either the cut pages or the edit pages and the color page, I think. Yeah, and the color page, we can go to quick export, find our custom export, export it, job done. And there you go, ladies and gents, a video that is longer than I intended it to be. But oh well, hopefully you found it useful. There's 10 things which I think are super handy within the DaVinci Resolve 20 beta. Again, download it for yourself. Remember, might have issues, etc, etc, etc. Thank you for watching. Take it easy. I'll see you next time.